Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to tackle the deck boxes. I am going to give them a severe prune. So I'm going to kind of explain the reason behind my madness, the method behind my madness, tell you why I'm going to do it, show you exactly how I'm going to do it, and then how am I going to ensure that these annuals have a gorgeous rest of the season here in our North Carolina Zone 8A garden. So if you're not familiar with this spot, and it is bright and early, I was trying to beat the sun, I failed. So we're gonna battle that. But here we have, this is obviously off of our back porch, and we have this deck section right here. A couple years ago, my daddy built me some raised beds here. So these are boxes. You'll be actually able to see them when we're done. But they are basically an L shaped. They are filled completely with beautiful potting soil, land and seed compost. There is a hummingbird sitting. Oh, she was just sitting there on the Rose of Sharon. Sorry. So I do have a feeder right here. And so you're probably gonna see tons of hummingbirds because they are extremely active. I digress. Completely filled with soil, and then it does have drip irrigation that comes on once a day. You were with me in the spring when we planted them. Tons of annuals in here. And y'all, this is like a wild beast. I mean, it is just, whoo, she needs some love. So what we have in here, of course, is the Super Bina Pink Cashmere. We've got the new, this is the Mini Vista, this is the Plum Vein. We did get massive rain last night, so these poor plants really do look even more bedraggled than they normally would. But so this is the Plum Vein. We have the new Kufia, which is a spectacular plant. Violet Night. It's the new series. I'll put the right name up there. But this is a great one. Then we have the dahlias. These are new dahlias for next year for proven winners. So they are in here. The Angel Face White Angelonia, same that I have in the containers on the patio wall. And there is Saffron Finch in here. We've got the Selenia Yellow Begonias right there. Yeah, I think that's it. And then on the other side down here we have Dichondra Silver Falls that is falling over. But it is August now here in North Carolina, and we have an extremely long growing season, right? And it is time to take care of these. So I'm going to go quick and easy. The longest part of this job is going to be the cleanup, not the pruning. So all of your annuals can respond really, really well to being pruned. The exception I would say would possibly be like your grasses. But if you have verbenas, if you have Torrenia, Cleome, petunias, Kufia, Coleus, right? Any of those, pentas, you name it, they respond really well to being pruned. And this does not look good, right? This looks yucky. This looks bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them a severe haircut. Severe. We're going to whack them back, as I say. Then we're going to fertilize them, we're going to feed them, and they're going to bounce back. If you have any doubts, last year I did the exact same thing to these boxes. I take my hedge trimmers. Yep, I am going to use electric hedge trimmers, and I'm going to cut. So clearly I am not going to be very precise on my cuts. I took that electric hedge trimmer, totally cut back these boxes. Then I brought you back a few weeks later, and I was like, see, look, and they were gorgeous. I dare say last year's boxes were prettier once they flushed out after I pruned them than they were initially. They just were completely different and stunning. So that is what we're going to do today. I am going to try to beat the sun because it is August in North Carolina. It's going to be a little toasty. So what I have here, just the good old steel electric pruners. You have seen me, sorry y'all, I'm telling you, the sun today. What I have here today are my steel electric pruners. These are the hedge trimmers, and so I am just going to go in and just give everybody a good haircut. You're going to see exactly what I'm going to do, and then the cleanup process will begin. So I have a couple of the pop-up containers that I love, and so we're going to stuff them full of all the debris, and then I will meet you back here, and we will talk about what's the next step to ensure that these babies have a beautiful rest of the summer here in our garden. My friends, did I give you a heart attack? Look at them. I mean, they are trimmed. If this is not the definition of whacking back your plants, then I don't know what is. But yes, those electric trimmers, while it still was quite a beast of a task to do, it did make it a lot easier to do it than having to do it with your hand pruners. Can you do it with your hand pruners? Absolutely you can. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. You probably will get a better trim because sometimes here in the middle, some of the plants were longer and they were laying down, and so you didn't get a good overall cut on them. But yeah, I literally, as you can see, took the hedge trimmers and just ran it along the sides of the boxes. I mean, and I just basically, if you're comparing this to a haircut, this would be like a bowl cut, right? I mean, you literally, I just cut the length, the top, and the sides off of the whole kit and caboodle. So now, what do we do next? Okay, so how do we ensure that these plants thrive and that they bounce back and are prettier than when they were earlier in the season? Well, food, right? So these plants in particular, right, they are annuals. So historically, annuals are going to be heavier feeders than your perennials and your shrubs. Perennials and shrubs I fertilize once a year. Your annuals, I can fertilize, like these guys, you could fertilize them once a week. And so because you got to remember that annuals, I compare it to, the Olympics are going on right now, right? So the annuals are the sprinters, right? They have a very short season that they must perform. So they give everything that they have for a very short amount of time. When I'm talking about short amount of time, I'm talking about several months, right? Not years, not decades like a tree. So they need lots of really high quality food to give them that performance. Your perennials, your shrubs, your trees, those are your distance, right? That is your distance runners. Those are your marathon runners. Those are your long distance swimmers, all of that. Their goal is to go for a long time, kind of that slow and steady, if you will. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed them with two kinds of fertilizer. Now, I am not over fertilizing these plants because these fertilizers have two different roles, right? So they have two different purposes. We've talked about this many, many times before. So what we have here on the left is the Proven Winners Premium Continuous Plant Food. This is your slow release fertilizer. It is a granular. I should have taken the top off. Let's see if I can do it right quick, right? So they're little pellets that we're going to sprinkle down into, well, we got a new container. Look at that. So you can see, there we go, right? So they are granular. You have a little scoop. If you want to use a scoop, you absolutely can. In this case, I am just going to take it and sprinkle it because the top also has that, as Mimi calls it, the shake and bake action. So you have the little holes, so you can just take it and sprinkle it over. So we're going to do that and then just sprinkle it all throughout, and then I'm going to come back and I call it zhuzh it, right? So you take your hand and you shake the plants like this. This is where Brenna thinks there's a rabbit in there. So you shake it because you want those pellets to fall down to the ground. So what is the purpose of the, I just call it slow release fertilizer. So the purpose of that is to give you a nice, slow, steady release of food. So even when I am not out here using water-soluble fertilizer, it is feeding the plants. It is released by temperature, so August in North Carolina, it is going to be putting out some food. This is why I don't use this in the winter. It does me no good. It's an absolute waste of money because it's not warm enough to release that fertilizer into the soil, into the roots. So we only use this in spring and the summer, maybe even the fall here in the south because our falls are quite warm. It will be every time it rains, every time the irrigation turns on, it will feed the plants. This is my biggest helper in the garden, really, other than great quality, just really adding to your soil. So that is that. Next, what we're going to do after we do that, we're going to come back with the water-soluble fertilizer. This is the one that is the instant shot of food. It is going to give them great nutrition right away. When you have like the Proven Winners, it comes in 2 bags. Both of these bags are actually open. The fertilizer itself is blue. There is a scoop in there. It is 1 scoop per gallon. I'm going to be using a 5-gallon bucket, so I'm going to use 5 scoops. With Proven Winners, when it gets activated, and you can kind of see it's got a little dark right here, it will turn a dark, dark purple. So that is something that is different with the Proven Winners. That is that chelated iron in there. And so don't be freaked out that it'll be a deep, dark purple and not like a bright blue. So that is what we're going to do. Historically on these boxes, it takes me about anywhere from 2 to 3 of the buckets. So that could be like 15 gallons of fertilizer that I'm going to put down. We have been getting so much rain, which I'm not complaining about, especially this time of year. So that the amount of rain that we have had is contributing to everything being extremely lush, which is what you want as a gardener, right? That is what we want. That also includes the weeds. That also includes maybe plants are getting a little too vigorous, hence why we are pruning them back. I have been, if you've been following us, that has probably been my #1 theme throughout the past couple of weeks is pruning, trimming back, thinning out, giving those plants a little bit of a rejuvenation of a shot. And so, yeah, if you find that your annuals, maybe they don't need to be pruned, but you're getting tons of rain and they start to look a little yellow. Now these look a little yellow because they were underneath the, they were buried. But see how this is not really a dark, dark green? See how this is like more of a yellow look to it? As opposed to like, you know, something up here that's a nice dark green. If your plant looks more yellow, then it needs food. So giving it that water-soluble fertilizer is going to, within a matter of a couple of days, you're gonna see nice, rich, dark green growth on it. When you get tons of rain like what we've been getting, especially in containers, all that rain, it leaches the nutrition out of the soil. So it literally is stripping away the food, right? It just is draining right out. So we need to go back and feed those plants. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Last night we got like 3 inches of rain in this massive storm that came through. It sounds weird that you're like, well, we got all this rain, so then I'm gonna go back and put more water on it. Yes, you are, because you're giving it food. And so give them that food. They will soak it up, and so it will make a huge difference in your annuals. Give them the food if you've been getting tons of rain. They need that food. You're not going to drown them because you're not doing this every single day. You're doing it maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. When you can remember it, get that done. So I'm going to give them, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fertilize them, and that way you can see it real life in action, and then do some cleanup. We got a little bit of a mess, so we just need to do some fine tuning, and then that'll be the project for today. All right, my friends, so today's project is done. She's cleaned up, she's fertilized, everything is done, and yeah, there you go. So now what do? We just sit and wait. We just watch them grow and get lots of nice new growth and nice new beautiful flowers. I will give you an update here in a couple of weeks. This bed is on irrigation, so I don't have to worry about watering it. I will probably, in full disclosure, come back in a week, 10 days, give it another shot of the water-soluble fertilizer, and then that's it. Then we just let them do their thing, right? So pretty easy. Let me show you from a different perspective. So Brent and I did wash off the porch and get everything nice and clean. So if you see some water everywhere, then that's what that is. But yeah, so there you go. That shows it from that angle. This is Emily Bronte, the David Alston rose. She probably needs a little trim. She's getting a little aggressive there. I did, while I was here, I need to get my blower, the battery died, but went ahead and pruned back the Terminia as well some. So just kind of got them off of the stones right there, so they will thicken up and be quite happy as well. And yeah, so there it is from that perspective, and then all the way around. So again, if you have annuals that are a little bit out of control, don't be afraid to prune them, because remember, oh my gosh, I have showed you so many times how I have pruned the annuals. They're doing quite lovely. That's the white angelonia. This is the new Wedgwood pink that will be out next year. Pruned all of those. Those are doing really well. Oh, little update real quick while we're here. I even pruned my Incrediballs, so I'm hoping to get a second flush of flowers this fall. And we have got some beautiful new growth right here, which is what I want to see. That means that we have that new growth, these bloom on new growth. So hopefully I will get a nice flush of flowers again this fall on my hydrangeas. So yeah, don't be afraid to go out there and prune, people. Pruning is one of the scariest things for gardeners, especially your new gardeners. I understand that, but it is also one of the best things that you can do for your plants. And yeah, don't be afraid to do it. This is why we do these kinds of videos, to give you the knowledge and the confidence to go out there and do it. All right, we'll see y'all next time. Lots of things to do in the garden here in early August. Bye, friends.